Today is Saturday, October 1st, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for week 2 of Survivor 43.
All right, yeah. So we got the 2-hour version. Now we've had the 90-minute version of an episode. I'm curious to see what the other super fans thought and how they assessed the gameplay that we got to witness this week, too. How many super fans chimed in this week?
18.
All right, got a full show. Anything we need to cover before we get started?
I do not believe so.
First up, we got a call from Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling you. Wow, what a solid 90-minute episode, baby. I must admit, I'm a little disappointed in the outcome, but I'm going to get it with our great big woo! Yeah! Awesome episode, guys. Looks like next week are we back to the 1 hour thing, which is a little unfortunate because we've been getting so much content in just these first few episodes here. I love that we've seen all the teams. We didn't see too much of the blue team, just a little bit with Ryan and Gio working together, which we knew, and then Carla with the Women's Alliance and James, but not much more with the blue team because just like the other seasons, 41 and 42, they're just dominant, but I bet you they go to at least one tribal. We'll see. But anyway, guys, let me talk about the other teams, because that's what was focused on. The yellow team. Now, guys, Gabler, I'm starting to agree with you, Stacy. If it wasn't for Zidel, he probably would have been the first one out, I bet, last week. I'm glad the yellow team won this last immunity challenge and got first, but man, it looked like he had no luck with the fishing gear, which I'm sure you both were shaking your head with. I was. I'm going to go, come on, Gabler, get it together. But he is working, it looks like, with Mike and Owen, and we knew it, guys, with Mariah gone, it's like, what is it, Evie and Janine are the only two women there, and I don't like it all. You could say it was a good strategy, but I never was a fan of looking in other teams' personal belongings or bags, and clearly on the next time on, Gabler or Owen tells Gabler about it, and if that team loses, I wouldn't be surprised if Eva is the one that's sent home. I think it was a good move, but it was also a catastrophic mistake. Now, real quick, the red team, since they lost, very sad, guys. Justine went home. I thought her and Noelle had a solid alliance there. I really did, but it just didn't pan out. Jesse Lopez, I'm a little disappointed with him there. You know, he's a flip-flopper, and I think now, what's his name, Dwight will have a vote now if they lose again. And I wouldn't be surprised if Dwight and Noelle, if they form an alliance to try to get back at Jesse. But man, Chloe finding the Beware advantage. I love the new twist there. I don't know how he was able to pull it out, but man, he did. I mean, partially thanks to Jesse, but man, though. And I so was hoping Noelle wouldn't give him her beads there, but everyone did, and sure enough, Justine is blindsided. I did feel for Nneka, though, even if she went, clearly she was the weakest link from a challenge point of view. But what are you going to do? Hopefully Nneka can redeem herself. Sad Justine left, but nevertheless, it was a great episode, guys. I really enjoyed it. Now I got to read what Probe said if you had Q&A with Dalton, Ross, and if there's any extra clips. But again, we know they're limited. Well, we're looking forward to next week, guys. We'll see if we see more of the blue team. Take care. Woo.
Whoa, thanks, Pete. Yeah, there's definitely limited clips, but there was a good clip for Baca, and I think that was over on EW.com that we saw it, where they go out to go fishing.
That was an excellent clip. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah, and
You pulled it up, so.
and you're right. Like they had shown in the episode, Gabler was struggling, but Owen, on the other hand, has some success.
Woohoo!
It's only with small fish, but at least, like he said, it's some fish. And then it immediately goes to his head, and he's comparing himself to Ozzy. He figures it must be the hair.
Ozzy who?
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's cute.
But that was a good clip where you got that. You got to see him have some success, and I think that could build into something bigger, more substantial. And certainly he was managing the Hawaiian sling, and Gabler didn't have it. So maybe if Owen takes care of it, they'll get to hold on to it for a little while. And we did get an extra clip, a tree mill clip at Coco. And I think the thing that impressed me the most there was that it was Cassidy and Gio that knew right away about the 400-pound snake challenge. So they were the ones that were demonstrating the game knowledge out of the gate there at that tribe. So it wasn't much, but it was just a little taste there. And they were talking about how they felt like they were in a good position. So they went into that challenge with a really positive outlook.
And I think it was Owen and Ellie that recognized it from Tree Mail, that it was the snake challenge.
Owen, for sure. Yeah, Owen even remembered that it was the 400-pound snake.
Yep. That impressed me, because I didn't remember what it weighed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Good deal. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got an email from Hayden in Lawrence, Kansas.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. Wow, that was such a good episode of Survivor. From the interesting editing to the colorful cast of players we have this season. And of course, that amazing vote off. Seriously, Cody pulled a Tony with his maneuvering around the brand new Beware advantage. Speaking of that, I love how they reworked the Beware advantage / disadvantage this season, making it more about social relations with your tribe mates rather than secret ghost relations with the opposing tribe. Improves the advantage drastically, and we get awesome moments like the idle bead hat as a result.
I still think that was mainly Jesse and NECA. They pulled such a huge assist there for Cody to get him those other beads, working the whole tribe the way they did.
Okay, back to Hayden. Also, the fact that Justine got voted out because she was a salesperson and gave away her beads is probably one of the new funniest Survivor moments. Finally, I really hope the editing team for Survivor keeps up their great work, adding little things like Owen's name in the fictional opening and having the bead hat be a Tchaikovsky's gun.
I think that's Chekhov's gun.
Okay, but it says Tchaikovsky's gun.
Yep, that's close, but I think it's based on a Chekhov quote that says when you're making up stories, everything needs to be there for a reason.
Okay. Well, he finishes saying, those were so brilliant. As an adoring videographer myself, It makes me very happy. Anyways, that's all I've got to say about this episode. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day, and I can't wait to write in or maybe call next week. Till then, peace. All right. Thanks, Hayden.
Yeah, good job. Either way, I think you got it covered. Looking forward to more insights there. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. I hope everyone enjoyed the second episode. For me, it felt like maybe a bit of a step down from the premiere, but that mostly could be owing to what was one of the best season premieres that we've had in a while. And again, the second episode with the added length, it really helped continue to give us insight into the characters of the season. I really enjoyed seeing Ryan and Gio bond. I both seem like good guys, and I think that Ryan's going to really go far in this game. I also think I underestimated Gio a bit, especially since I had him as my vote off. He may not be super skillful in the challenges, but I think he has the ability to get along with people better than a lot of other of the survivors, such as Justine. Justine, what happened? I thought you rode dirt bikes and you're one of the boys, but the fact you whined about your fingernails determined that is a lie. I wonder when she told Jessie that she's a good liar, was that also a lie? I think a common thing we'll hear in the feedback for this episode is that Cody's starting to grow on people. Like Joanne mentioned in the recap, it became clear in this episode how Cody became the person he is today. And when you learn the reasons behind it and realize he's purely genuine in his living mantra, you actually start to like him. I've worked alongside guys like Cody, and though they seem goofy, they're hard workers and they're go-getters usually. My opinion on him shifted dramatically, and I think the odds of people booting him out because they're annoyed by him are much lower than I previously thought. Some of my other thoughts of this episode is, does CBS always cast one survivor with crazy eyes? I feel like every season there's a survivor that just like stares into your soul with your eyes, and this season it's Ellie. Also, Noelle does not seem like someone who plays well with others. Whenever she's on camera, she's always rocking the stink face. And Gabler seems like a wuss. I'm sorry, but complaining about food after only 3 days is ridiculous. I feel like Cody could probably survive for 3 months before he started complaining. I'm also starting to question Gabler's credentials in just about every facet of life except for his ability to look like Nicolas Cage. And since Neca's a pharmacist, could she recommend some healing cream for poor Janine? Anyway, that's it for me. I'm not sure who will be my vote off next week. I'm leaning towards Noelle or Owen, but I look forward to hearing everyone else's feedback. All right, thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Robert. Next up, we got an email from Rashmi in Perth. Dear Joanne and Stacy and all my Survivor friends, I have missed my Survivor family, and it's wonderful to hear everyone's voices. I have been away on a road trip across the Nullarbor to Adelaide and back, and we covered 6,800 kilometers. Oh my goodness. The highlight was seeing the southern right whales, Mum and Bubs, at the Great Australian Bight. However, I missed out on sending feedback and watching the show. I did listen to the podcast. We got back only a couple of days ago, and I'm now all caught up. So I chose the first person on Paul's roster as my USB, which was Ellie, and the most out there person for the vote out, and got the bonus point. So far, I'm happy with my selections. Ellie hopefully will go further. Right, Stacy? I think she will for now. I'm really enjoying these longer version episodes as they give us so much more insight into the characters. Cody's really fun, but I don't think he's going to last long. Gabler's beard reminds me of a billy goat. That's good. I like that. I think Vesey will be going to tribal quite often. Dwight's not going to make it far if he's plotting against Jesse. As we know from previous seasons, Noelle most probably is not long for the game. NECA is just meh. I reckon the girls' alliance and Coco will be strong and they will get rid of Gio and then Ryan. Or I could be totally wrong. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Thank you, Joanne and Stacy. Cheers. Thanks, Rashmi. Great to hear from you. Next up, we got a call from Nicola.
Wow. Well, that was a great episode. And I'm sorry to all you people who lost your USB. I was worried I was going to lose mine in the first 5 minutes when he's sitting there going, oh, I'm in the driving seat. And I'm like, no, please no. But it was a lot of fun to watch. The snake thing looked super hard. I know a lot of them looked like they were beat up. And I'm sure Gabler is going to lose that Hawaiian sling at any moment, so there'll be no fish over there. It's good to have Survivor back on our TVs. It's good to have everybody's voices in my car when I'm driving or when I'm walking the dogs. And Jackson is doing good. He's taken up archery this summer. He's doing really well, doing the Junior Olympics. And hopefully that will stand him in good stead for when he's on Survivor. He has caught up from last week's episode, but he'll watch this week's the weekend, so I don't think he's going to be able to contribute much this season. Maybe next week because he's on full break. We'll see. Thanks to everybody for all your contributions. We really love listening to you, and we will talk to you soon. Nicky out. Cheers. Oh, one last thing. She still would have gone home because she voted for Cody and Noelle voted for NECA. So even if Cody had lost his vote, she would have gone home with 2 votes from Jesse and NECA. Bye, guys.
Indeed, this is true. Thanks, Nicola. Next up, we got an email from Erin in Canada.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. 90 minutes is the sweet spot. I actually even like it better than 2 hours. 2 hours seems too long on a weeknight, unless it's the finale episode, but 90 minutes was perfect. Even though my USB went home, I still enjoyed the episode and the gameplay. Jesse was the player of the week, leading the vote off and convincing Cody to try and collect the beads. Cody should get a picture of a palm frond hat tattooed on his other cheek. He was definitely living, and it paid off with the help of his friends, Jesse and Nick.
There you go.
Yeah. Next week should be interesting. Looks like Gabler finds out they were going through his bag. Maybe he will learn how to spear fish and provide for the tribe. I think Gabler and Dwight are at risk of going home next. Have a great week. All right, thanks, Erin. Up next, we have a call from Drew.
Joanne and Stacy, everyone, this is Drew. I got a reminder from Nina in my pick on the Facebook group. I think there was another reminder on the Facebook group in the same thread. Julie reminded me to submit my pick. I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to submit my pick. I was at work all day. I was like, I'm going to submit my pick any minute now. I was on the drive home. I was like, oh, when I get home, I'll have time to submit my picks. I got home, and I think it was like, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours later, and I was like, God, I forgot my pick. So it might even have been the next morning. I don't know. I've been pretty busy week at work. So, yeah, the last several days are kind of blurring together. But anyway, my rollover picks were okay, and I did fine. I didn't get the vote out. Of course, I gave her, which I thought could have been actually not a bad pick. I was going to move towards Gio, but it was a fine episode. Just some feedback. Thanks for your recaps. I'm looking forward to everyone else's feedback, too, because I'm just trying to process things. I'm having a problem because I don't really like this cast. I think there's like 2 people that I kind of like, not including my USB, who, wait, she just got voted out, right? Yeah, she just, I didn't even remember for a second. Yeah, so anyway, it wasn't like super heartbreaking because I was like, okay, fine. Whoever it was, I'm pretty sure it was the same, but gosh, I feel really dumb now. That's okay. That's how my mind is right now. And as far as the game is concerned, I should say, especially. Every time someone comes on, I just really don't really like them, which I think is a problem. I know that they cast archetypes. I know they cast stereotypes, but also they just are all, most of them are kind of annoying in a way that I just don't even, it's not even like a villain, sort of a love-hate them sort of thing. It's just like I just don't really like them. So hopefully as time goes on, maybe if I had done Javik, this could be a testament to that. Like maybe if I had a little bit more time spent with them, at least seeing them before the show started. But I do think that listening to Javik was really helpful at least. So not totally cold going into it. Challenges I feel like are getting kind of redundant, like repetitive, I should say. It's just like always some big physical thing. There's always some like nail-biting puzzle at the end. I don't know. I feel like the challenges used to be a lot more, I don't know, like unique or just exciting. Now it's just like these relay things, and I'm just like, okay, well, I can't tell them apart. Like every single challenge blurs with the next. So maybe the theme for this season is how things blur together. But I guarantee I'll get my picks in this week. I guarantee my feedback next week will be a little bit less scattered. But I hope everyone's having a good weekend. Beautiful day. It's cooling down. I'm going into work. Talk to you later. Bye.
All right. We hope you have a better week coming up, Drew.
The moral of the story is never miss Javik.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is, yep. It just starts your season off wrong.
Thanks, Drew. Next up, got an email from Chris in Alabama. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Hey, Survivor fans. I really appreciate this community. Listeners, lurkers, JSFL players, and everyone who takes time to report their perspective on the game. I'm very grateful for the good vibrations you share, Joanne, fans, and Stacy, with your love of the game of Survivor. I'm going to speak to the leaders now. Dear producers, I would be happy to trade an outside-of-game production piece in exchange for the time it takes and the rightful broadcast of the opening credits. P.S. Bring back that song we love, and you can profile characters as much as you want. Have a great week. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, a lot of people would love to have the original credits back. It was something that they were so used to, and it told a story for every character, what they chose to show and highlight, huh?
Yep, and the song.
And Ancient Voices is just iconic for Survivor. It always will be, even though they took it away so many years ago. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, after having a 2-hour episode and then an hour-and-a-half episode, I can honestly say, Survivor, it ain't enough. Those episodes go by so fast. It's unbelievable. And when we got to the 20-minute mark and they were getting ready for the immunity challenge, I thought, well, okay, this is going to be a 2-vote-off episode. But never underestimate how a player can sabotage their game. And I'm looking at you, Cody. I love the cast. I love their emotional backstories. As I said, Gio's my USB, and last week I really had my doubts about him. but after watching him last night, I think he's redeemed himself when he talked about coming out to his parents and then knowing that they wanted nothing to do with him, and he became homeless at 18, and now he's living his life honestly and is married. I'm backing him 100%. Do I think he's going to win? Probably not, but I was wrong. He is more of a high than a Romeo, and I'm backing him all the way. As for Cody, I thought he was just a goof, but he's winning me over as well. When he talked about losing his high school friend, his motto is definitely carpe diem, seize the day, and I admire him for that. And Ellie, having ADHD, I find that so many people have doubts about themselves. Even though she's got a PhD, she still felt she's not that smart. And to go on a show like this and have the realization that she's not only capable of doing something, but she's great at it, that's amazing. As for tribe leadership, it seems like in the challenges, Vaca has maybe Sammy. Coco definitely has Ryan. But Fessy, whenever they have to make a decision, they just seem to stop and nobody says anything. They're just immobile. So I'm not sure what's going on in that tribe. I do have a couple questions, though. Does this mean that since Cody got his vote, that he also now has an immunity advantage or immunity idol?
Yes.
Oh, and Stacey, I'm glad you talked about rewatching the immunity challenge. I did go back and rewatched it myself, and yeah, Nneka really wasn't great in the challenge, but she wasn't as bad as I thought. And I guess the only other question I have, are we ever going to hear a confession from Cassidy? When? Like after the merge? Anyway, talk to you guys next week. Bye.
Yeah, thanks, David. I agree. Who is it? Cassidy and Nneka are both kind of purple at this point.
It's true.
Nneka got featured a little bit because she was working hard to help Cody, and she had to scramble because she knew she was the target for some votes. But still, you're not getting a lot of the backstory from her. Thanks, David. Next up, we got an email from Nicky in Tampa, Florida.
Sadly, I have yet to watch the episode due to the fact I have no power. I did listen to the podcast the day after Survivor to get some sort of idea what happened. It makes it so hard to choose my next picks as I need the visual to see how they interact. Hopefully power comes back soon and I can catch up with all that's going on. I'll listen to Saturday's feedback show to get more ideas about what happened. Be safe all. All right, thanks, Nicky, and you be safe. I hope everything's going well in Tampa, and you'll get your power back very soon.
Yeah, definitely keeping a good thought for all the folks that got impacted by Hurricane Ian. Quite a lot. Did some serious damage in Florida. And
Yep.
I didn't think it was hitting South Carolina that hard at first, but I guess it did have an impact for sure. Not as bad as Florida, but at first I thought they were just kind of shrugging it off, but then I've seen some of the follow-up news on that, and definitely it left a mark. Thanks, Nicky. Next up, we got a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanna, Stacy, and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina calling in for week 2. Thought I'd be cheeky and go outside on the back porch and record with Hurricane Ian in the background. Unfortunately, it was so windy and you wouldn't have heard my voice, so I'm back inside now. Alright, to the episode. That snake challenge is brutal. I could not have done it. That heavy snake, that just looked miserable to watch even. Early judgments, there's no one I outright dislike, I would say, but when it comes down to some, I've got my eye on who I'm like, I don't know if I love them that much. Definitely the girls left on Baca between Janine and Ellie. They both seem very shrewd, but at the same time not super trustworthy. I really hope that Owen is smart and sticks with the dudes over there, because that would probably be better for him. Gabler and Sammy and Owen, they could be a good trio going forward if he commits to it. When Janine was digging through the bag, it really irked me how she played the card of morality, like, no, this isn't really me, I'm just doing it for Survivor. If people are going to do something like that, just own up to it. It always gets on my nerves in any setting, whether it's Survivor or Big Brother or just the real world, of people justifying their actions with no legitimate reasoning besides, no, this wouldn't be me in this other situation, but I get a pass here. So I'm not even mad that she dug through the bag, because we've seen it a lot. I just didn't like how assuring she was that, like, no, I'm super against it, but went with it anyway. The bead bracelet twist, that was way too wacky, way too quirky. I thought it was cool. I really liked the editing of it too, how you didn't know that Noelle actually gave it to Cody until they edited it into the tribal as a flashback. That was really cool. But oh man, the twist itself, don't do stuff like that. It's just so unfair. And I'm blanking on who said it. I think it was Jesse. Oh yeah, it was definitely Jesse, who was, have you not seen Survivors 41 and 42? And he makes a great point, because going forward, people on the show, if you sneeze the wrong way, people are going to think that you have an advantage of some kind. JSFL is going good enough. I haven't lost any safe points. One thing that stinks for me, though, is that I've gotten the right tribe 2 weeks in a row, of which tribe winds up going to tribal, but unfortunately that does not give you points, and I have not picked the right person either time. So let's see going forward. Hopefully I get one next week. Jesse is my USB 40, and I am liking it out the gate. He seems smart. I would say he is the safest on that tribe right now with Vesey. Hard to say what happens going forward, but he's really smart, and I would love to see my hometown guy bring home the win. Joanne and Stacy, everyone else, stay safe if you're on the Atlantic coast. If you're in Florida especially, or even South Carolina got hit really bad today. Everyone be giving positive vibes to this area for sure. And I will see you all next week.
Thanks, Cameron. Just a quick reminder, it's 24 points. I think you said USB 40, but it's not quite 40 points.
That would be nice, too.
That would be different, yeah. That's almost as much as you can get in the last part of the game. But
All right. We will keep that in mind, Cameron, and we hope you stay safe. And ready for Ian to go away.
I think that, like Cameron was talking about, that should have been a pretty big wake-up call for Jesse. The fact that Cody was so off the rails and got himself in that mess.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they got him back, but you can't count on what this guy's going to do.
Yeah, that was just nuts to open the Beware advantage. Knowing that you could lose your vote, it's like he just couldn't help himself. Or something.
Yeah.
He just did not stop enough to think it through. Now, wait, should I do this? If I do this and I lose my vote, this could happen.
It's just staggeringly unpredictable. You absolutely don't want that in your alliance partner. So I'm sure he could shore up his numbers at this point. He can probably rebuild some bridges so that he's not totally dependent on Cody. I'd have to be thinking about that if I were him. Thanks, Cameron. Next up, we got an email from Nora in Canada. I love the Cody, Nneka, Jesse alliance. Speaking of them, it's exactly what was going to happen. Justine and Noelle were not good at including Nneka in an all-girl alliance, so they let that happen. Over at Baca, my USB Janine better get into the all-guy alliance to vote out Ellie toot sweet. She should have started that the second the leader, Ellie, had them vote out a woman. I still think Ellie's asking to be voted out. She never let the convo with Janine open up to her opinion mattering, and her arrogantly calling the men her kids was the clue to Janine that Ellie's bad news to be in an alliance with. Once you openly show you have an all-girls alliance, the guys are going to vote out the women one at a time. All right, thanks, Nora. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque. I have to be honest and say that I am not liking this season so far. From what we've seen, it looks like most people are playing scared, and that's my least favorite kind of game to watch, and I don't think anybody that plays scared deserves to win. But that being said, I really like Cody. I enjoy his attitude and the fresh perspective he brings to the game, and I thought he majorly outplayed Justine. And so based on what we saw, I was not surprised to see her go. It looked like she was playing a terrible game. You should never let people know that you don't trust them or that you don't consider them an ally. Same goes for Jesse, vice versa. He kind of gave it away to Justine and Noelle that he didn't trust them, and I don't think that's good gameplay, especially on a small tribe. I think Gabler is in trouble. I think the only reason they didn't vote him out before was because of that idol. Either they were thinking that they could use it down the line, or like I said earlier, they were afraid of it, which is pathetic gameplay. But I think he's in trouble once that idol expires. Otherwise, I think it's probably Janine, because the girls gave up the majority, and since then they've been acting like they don't need to pull in the men at all. Again, that's just based on what we're seeing. I know a lot goes on that we don't see in the episode. Coco Tribe, we're not getting a lot from them. They seem pretty strong, so I don't have a lot to say about them at this point. I'm trying to think If Justine wanted to save herself, I think that there was more she could have done to pull in the rest of the tribe. It seemed like she and Noelle were not concerned about alienating everybody else. So wasn't surprised or sad to see her go. Stacey, was that your USB? If so, then welcome to the club. Bye, everybody. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, in Justine's interview, she was really clear how much her and Noelle thought Jesse was with them.
Very confident that he was totally with them. They didn't doubt it at all.
Yeah, he had them completely bamboozled and was leaning on them for strategic direction, for interaction with Cody and NECA. And so he just really did a number on them.
She said what they didn't show was how much Jesse was running to them and saying, okay, so Cody and NECA are saying this, and, blah. They were giving them feedback. So they completely, he sold it.
Yeah, he pulled them in.
Them.
Yep. Thanks, Noelle. Next up, we got an email from Jack in California.
These last 2 episodes were a great start to this new season. I didn't have a chance to send in feedback for the premiere, so here's some brief thoughts from the kickoff episode. It was impressive as to how quick Coco got their supplies by digging only for a little bit. The tactic seemed to have worked well. Gabler did disappoint me when, after they lost the challenge, he seemed to have just given up and was going to throw his vote away. As for this week's episode, I feel like it would be very rough sleeping in the downpour that was shown, but it is part of what is involved when signing up for Survivor. One of the castaways that seems to be having a lot of fun out there is Cody. He's living when he is out there, and it is a lot of fun to see. I'm not sure how long he will last, but he does seem to be having a blast. The hat he made is actually quite impressive. The most recent Beware Advantage was unique as well as a challenging one, but it was really cool how it played out with everyone giving him beads to bedazzle the hat, and it ended up working very well. I do feel slightly bad for Owen for being the go-getter or water boy for his tribe while the others are idle hunting. That snake in the challenge seems like it would be very difficult to drag over the obstacles since it's so heavy. I love how Cody was riding and sliding down with it like he was in a rodeo. However, NECA seemed to have done nothing, and I would have probably voted her out to keep the tribe strong. I'm looking forward to seeing what is to come and can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. All right, thanks, Jack. Up next, we have a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here with some quick feedback for this week's episode of Survivor. And once again, solid episode, and I am digging these 90 minutes. Come on, CBS. Give us 90 minutes for all of our favorite reality competition shows. I know that Amazing Race gave us 90 minutes this week, too. Loving it. Listen, CBS, nobody watches the scripted stuff anymore. Don't worry about it, except for Star Trek. Keep that around. But the rest of it, just don't worry about it. Just give us 90 minutes on these shows we love. Because just like we talked about last week, we're getting so much great content. We're really getting to know these players so well, and I'm really enjoying it. And I know I'm talking to the choir here when I'm talking to you guys. But anyway, all right. So I've said what I want to say. But yeah, great episode. Oh my gosh, Justine. Ooh, oh, Stacy, felt your pain there. I have to admit, I'm so glad I decided not to go with her. Although, not convinced Owen's going to do very well. I think he's going to be okay, but I don't think he's going to win. So it's not like I did well by picking him. I think when I looked at my notes, when I set up my final 3, because the only thing I wind up doing is I swapped out and I put Ellie instead of James in my final 4. So basically the 2 boys I had was Owen and Jesse, and then I swapped out James, put Ellie in there, and kept Justine in my final 4. So one of those 4 I was going to pick, and oh my goodness, obviously I'm glad I didn't pick Justine, but To be fair, I don't think Owen's going to be. I do wish I would have gone with either Ellie or Jesse because I feel like they're getting more of a winner's type edit, especially Jesse. Jesse looks really good right now. Not just the way he's being portrayed. His gameplay is obviously pretty solid. Yeah, I really like him. I think he's my early pick right now. If I was trying to put it into books on who I think is going to win this season of Survivor, I'd go with him right now. But we'll see. Ellie still looks pretty good, too. But anyway, great episode. Yeah, Cody, wow. This guy, he really is that... Is it Wooderson, the character that Matthew McConaughey played in Dazed and Confused? He's really that guy, but even more souped up, more energetic. I mean, whoa. Casting must have, met this guy and go, oh, you're definitely in, right? But anyway, yeah, Justine obviously made a few mistakes there. You should never tell anybody you're good at lying. Not too surprised to see it. My pick for who's to go home next week is probably Noelle, although I still think we all were on the right track with Gio. I think he's still going home too. So those are one of those two people I feel like is probably going to go home next week. And really, that's it for me. It was a great episode. Don't have anything else to add to the conversation other than that. Hopefully everybody's doing well. And until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the plush moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacy, it was another solid episode. We have a good cast and advantages aren't falling from trees yet. My other observations and the Emmy for deceptive editing goes to Next Time on Survivor for making Gabler's morning stretch look like a potential evac. Yes, amen to that. That was kind of some dirty editing for sure. Like Owen, I talk to myself. Unlike him, I don't have a camera crew broadcasting it. Rain in Fiji is so frequent and powerful that residents never have to wash their cars. Gabler helps keep his tribe strong by resting while they work around camp. Usually Sammy's mom keeps him dry when it rains. Too bad this isn't blood versus water. In a Survivor diversity first, male Dwight is Jesse's island wife. Gabler had his mind blown. I blame Sammy. Dwight is an experienced interviewer. If he doesn't win the million, he might go gunning for Rob C's job interviewing vote-offs. Ryan passes the time by leading a ballet class. If Cody was on Coco, he could weave tutus for them. If everyone has an uplifting backstory, will that no longer be a reason to vote them out? If Sammy and Owen are her children, then Ellie is their helicopter mom. Yeah, for sure. I like that. Nice twist. Will Vesey hand Cody his hat at their next tribal council? Will we find out that Gabler moonlights as an ice cream scooper?
Oh.
Ellie aggressively patting Owen on the head reminded me of Benny Hill. It looked like a few people came this close to being hit by large falling snake tails. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I think that would have brought the pain pretty significantly. Maybe that's why Nicola was being so careful. She just didn't want anything to do with that potential. Sit-outs on losing tribes often like to play Monday morning quarterback. Hi, Noelle. We've finally seen the monster. It's a wet 400-pound snake that tries to drown people. It was ironic for Noelle to carp that there were no fish. It's sad that PhD Ellie always felt dumb until she solved a Survivor puzzle. Gabler's giving me strong Reverend Jim from Taxi vibes. Yeah, I don't know that Gabler's done the drugs the way Reverend Jim did, though. Janine's next job will be searching people's bags for the TSA. Dwight wants NECA gone. I want a pony. Exactly. I think those equate perfectly. Same chances for realization. Which was more dangerous for Cody, jumping from high places or finding a Beware idol? I'm going to go with the Beware advantage.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. Remember the Muppet Show? Noelle has resting Statler face. Yeah, that's twice she's been busted this feedback show. I like the use of flashbacks to add suspense to an otherwise straightforward tribal council. Yeah, I like that too. Next time, Dwight and Jesse might divorce. Is Carla fleeing from paparazzi? Anyway, that's it from me for now. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy, for all you do. Can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. I have so much in this episode that I want to talk about, so I'm going to get to it. First, that storm was awful. The survivors are suffering out there in the rain, but my thoughts turned also toward the crew that was out there with them. Somebody had to get footage of the storm and the misery, and what a horrible experience that had to be for all involved. I think that Ellie is off to a good start, but it's interesting that Sammy has correctly noticed that Ellie and Janine are underestimating the men on the tribe, so I'm thinking that Sammy is off to a better start. He's impressing me. He's strong and he's perceptive. I also want to talk about Dwight. So he was a junior journalist. He has interviewed all these significant figures as a child. I would think that he'd be more engaging and charismatic as a personality out there. But what we're getting on screen and from his tribe mates is that he hasn't made very strong connections with anyone. And to top it all off, the one alliance he has made, he can't seem to agree with. He was quite rigid in his thinking for someone who has no vote, and he didn't agree with Jesse's plan. Jesse's the only person on the tribe who's in his corner, and I thought that was a significant error. Just a quick note on Ryan. Why is Ryan making his tribe work out? They're starving and they're low on energy, or they will be low on energy. They should be conserving energy, not expending it, so I really kind of thought that was a little bit crazy. Cody is an interesting cat. My initial impressions of him were that he is shallow and not serious, and therefore not serious about playing the game. But after this episode, I realized that he is more complex. His story about how his friends battle with cancer and death has shaped who he is and how he lives provided a lot of insight for me. He's flighty for sure, and he's going to make mistakes, probably huge ones like the Beware Advantage, but I have no doubt that he is going to give us a great experience watching him. He is not a quitter, and he's going to give his all to get out of any bind that he might find himself in. Speaking of the Beware Advantage, that was an amazing sequence. First, I couldn't believe that he was so impulsive right before Tribal Council, but it was so fun to see him dive right in and try to overcome the obstacle that he had put in his own way. That was Boston Rob levels of masterful, and I don't like complimenting Boston Rob all that much. Did I just do that? Anyway, I'm hoping to see a lot more play like this from Cody. I think it's going to be fun. Finally, did I miss something regarding the Tribal Council voting? I thought that Noelle and Justine were voting for NECA. Why did Justine vote for Cody? Did she think that she was protecting against an immunity idol or something? Hopefully someone has some wisdom for me on this, because I am bum-puzzled by that. I don't get it. Anyway, I think Sammy, Ellie, Jesse, Cody, and NECA are playing the best game. I think that Cassidy will go before the merge because she's super purple and is getting 0 screen time. And also Dwight. I don't think he's made any connections that are going to carry him much further. That's it for me. I can't wait to hear everybody else's feedback on this great episode. Until next week. Bye.
Thanks, Jen. Yeah, as Justine mentioned in her interview, she and Noelle thought Jesse was with them. So Noelle, she thought
and Dwight.
Well, he didn't have a vote.
Yeah.
But yeah. But in terms of the voting question that Jen asked, so Justine and Noelle thought, hey, in the case that NECA plays her shot in the dark, let's go ahead and throw a vote. And she did mention it briefly during the episode, but it wasn't really clear. It was just kind of an in-passing thing, and it was easy to miss. That they would throw a vote on Cody just in case she got shot in the dark and saved herself, NECA that is, then they would take Cody out. And so Justine voted for Cody thinking that Jesse and Noelle were both going to put their votes on NECA. So that's how I understand it to have worked based on what she said in her interview.
And she said there was no question. They were very confident. Jesse, they totally believed he was with them 100%. Never thought for a second she would be in any jeopardy. So they felt safe to do that as a precaution.
I would have thought they would have had Justine and Noelle vote together for NECA instead of splitting their 2 votes. I wonder if Jesse had anything to do with that.
I would assume so.
Like he said, well, I'll go ahead and I'll vote with Noelle for NECA. That way you, Justine, can throw one at Cody just in case.
Well, that would be the move, just in case Cody didn't get all the beads and he didn't have a vote.
Right.
That was a great backup plan.
In which case, Jesse was still protecting Cody because he and Cody voted for Justine, and it still would have been 2 versus 1. So, yeah.
So Jesse looking pretty good in this.
Very much so. The front runner right now?
I don't know if I'd go that far, but
Battle tested and pretty high level play.
Yep. Yep.
Protecting
I
his
agree.
alliance, protecting his goof up buddy Cody.
Looking good.
And like Jen was saying, the next level of competence, who's roughly equivalent in Baca. Sammy certainly got some awareness like Jen was talking about, but
He does.
Ellie and Janine seem to be somewhat on par with each other in terms of having things figured out.
Owen seems better in the extra clips than what the edit is showing of him during the show.
Yes,
I think.
that's always very telling too.
Yeah.
When your best side is the extra clips that almost no one will see except the diehard fans, you're not doing well. Unfortunately.
I didn't take it that way at all. I took it he's doing better.
Okay.
They just don't want us to know it. So,
And it's still really unclear what's going on in terms of skills at Coco because they haven't been tested they haven't had their trial by fire at tribal council yet.
oh yeah, and it's way too early to know. You just want to. At this point, it's all about making alliances and hanging on to the merge.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and the other thing was that they're not completely starving, right? Because we saw Gio getting some almonds and Ryan getting papaya
I saw
to
him
bring
get
back.
an almond. I don't know if they got a bunch of them, but yeah, and they did get the papaya. I think we talked about the papaya. But
All right. Hopefully that helps sort some of that out there, Jen. Thanks. Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul in Louisiana here, and you know what? I could easily get used to these longer Survivor episodes. When this season started, I was honestly a little bit rusty with a few of the names of the players, but we're 2 weeks in and, 3.5 hours into gameplay? And I not only know their names, but I feel I know their personalities as well, for the most part. So then, my biggest takeaway on this episode is that Gabler will soon quit or be voted off because he can't pull his weight. And if neither of those happen, he'll ask to be voted off. This guy is so underwhelming, and I'll be fine to see him leave. Lying around camp is not part of a winner's edit. Next up, there's Janine, who I just can't, or I guess I should say couldn't, get a good read on. My first impression, looking at her picture, was that she'd definitely be high maintenance. But then after listening to her, I liked her enough to consider her to be my USB. Luckily, I went another direction because 3.5 hours into the season, I still can't make up my mind about her. Her comment about her nails and the spiders just painted a bad picture of her. But on the other hand, she also appeared to be someone who could go far given the opportunity. Some of her comments, though, wow, I guess you can say that she accidentally set fire to her game. On the other hand, Cody did a great job on turning people against her to get rid of his threat. I guess it takes one to know one, right? I'm now worried about Noelle, though. And to be honest, I think the decision to keep Neko was a bad one. So am I the only person thinking that the Ryan-Gio friendship is so very much like the JT-Steven connection? This pairing could very well save Gio, whose story is, well, I've got to say, it's very heartbreaking to me. Now, even with all this extra showtime, I'm still not clear on who Cassidy is. I hope we get more of her in this next episode so I know how to feel about her. I've got to say, she's the only player that I don't really have any read on one way or the other. So, I have a minor complaint here, and I think that Stacy will be in my corner on this. I like my advantages to be able to be summed up in 3 minutes or less. Yeah. Holy crow, that was a major page of text explaining how the immunity bracelet worked. I'm way out of room on the roster just listing that one beware advantage. I'm also worried that there might be a Jeopardy twist when Cody goes to play it. Jeff might say, I'm sorry, but you didn't craft your immunity in the form of a bracelet. Yeah, just kidding there, I hope. As for sharing information, well, Jeff, what are these people going to do when you yank them out of their tribe with no explanation as to what's going to happen? I mean, these people have seen 2 seasons that you have shown what to expect, so yeah, honesty is probably the best policy here. And even then, Cody may not believe you. So my bold prediction for next week is that Vessi loses again because, well, Nika. And Noelle ends up paying the price. If this happens, it's a downward spiral for Vessi, so I hope I'm wrong. And I guess that's it for me. Bye.
Thanks, Paul. That's a good point that he didn't have it in bracelet form. So, and the way I understood it, it needed to be a bracelet with all those beads on it.
Well, when he wants to play it, to make it an idol.
Right.
But he wasn't planning on playing it.
At that point,
At
sure.
that point. So I think at some point he will, because it does say that.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be.
But Cody's
make or break.
exactly the kind of guy that would not pay attention to detail from what we've been shown.
Well,
from the little bit that we've been shown.
Hopefully he let Jesse read it.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, thanks, Paul. Wow, thanks to everybody who took time to share their thoughts and predictions today. We really enjoyed it. We appreciate hearing from everyone. We also want to say a big thanks to Thomas, Christy, Hazel, and Erica for your donations. We appreciate your support.
If you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 3 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who will be safe at the end of the episode.
I'm almost a little apprehensive to go into just 1 hour episodes. I've been enjoying all this extra Tribe Time content.
You think it's going to affect how you feel about the overall episode because it was too short?
Yeah, we didn't get enough. Come on, more Tribe Time.
Well, sometimes I feel like that, even with an hour and a half. Boy, that went fast. Now, I agree. The 2 hour, I would certainly do it, but it would make it a little bit longer night trying to watch and
it's a much bigger commitment for us.
Yeah. So
the 90-minute one
seems to do
seems
anything else anyway on Wednesday night.
Yeah, seemed like a better balance for sure for us.
Yeah, but I thought 90 minutes, perfect.
That could happen.
Perfect.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we're having a blast doing these listener feedback shows for season 43, and if you'd like to join us next week when we put together our next one, you can call and leave a voicemail at 206-350-1547, toll-free 844-643-8737. You can record an audio comment and attach it, or just type up a quick text message. We had a lot of written ones this week. It was like an even balance. That's cool. We haven't had that in a while. Send it to us via email at joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays. Folks have been doing great getting it in early. That helps. Appreciate that. And they're doing a really good job keeping it in that 3-minute range so that we can get everybody's feedback in. There was someone this week who sent us a feedback. I'm not going to name names. I don't want to embarrass them in any way. But they sent us saying, here's my feedback, but they didn't attach it, whether it was written or audio. So unfortunately, we would have had 19. But
that's happened many times before.
Yeah.
You know, that's an easy thing to do.
And on Saturdays, depending on what time zone you're in, it can be hard to sync up. And I'm not always up early working on that stuff. Sometimes, because I am typically a night owl in general, I might get up a little later on Saturday mornings depending on what's going on, and we might miss each other so that we can't recover from that.
But anyway, we wish we had gotten it.
Mm-hmm.
You can send it anyway. So, is there anything else you wanted to talk about before we wrap it up?
I don't believe so. I'm having fun. I'm sorry for Drew that he's not enjoying this cast. I am enjoying them right now.
Yeah,
so
I have been too.
It's been good in that regard. And yeah, I'm bummed I lost my USB, but when I saw her with her strategies on talking to people about lying, I thought, wow, you shot yourself and you served yourself up.
Yeah.
You made it that much easier for Jesse to pull that off. I don't know that Jesse's that highly skilled of a player, but in these circumstances, he's excelling right now. We'll see.
Obviously, he convinced them. So they totally bought in. She's like, completely.
Yes.
So, okay. All right. Well, we'll be back here on Wednesday with our next recap show.
Have a good one.